Well, now it's a special treat since you've been such a good listening audience all week long. We're going to bring you a blast from the past. Joining us now right here in our own studio is Richard Rhodes.
How you doing?
Hey. What has it been, 25 years since you've been on the radio at KPFT?
Yeah, something like that, right?
That's too long.
It's been a long time.
That's too long. Tell us a little bit about KPFT when you were here. What was your DJ name?
Oh, I had so many. In the beginning, I was the only one that didn't have a name. I would just play like characters and stuff, and then I started being called Dick there after a while, working with Jack Cheese. We did the meat line and all that. It was just after the Thanksgiving explosion, you know, Alice's Restaurant being played, and then the KKK attacking there. Of course, I just, was speaking to Ray about, when we used to go after the KKK when they did their little march here. But that was quite a time back then. It was a lot of fun. And we kind of changed it. When I first got here, it was Cosmic Cowboy.
Yep.
But so much started coming in, especially from Europe. And the next thing you know, we started playing very, very psychedelic stuff and going into a completely different era. And at the time, I was studying Leary and a lot of other people, so it was very interesting.
Timothy Leary, for you guys who just simply are not aware. Let's play a little bit of an excerpt of something from...
I have a photograph of Tim here in the studio.
You really?
Yes, I do.
It feels better already. Oh.
Successful sound of wonderful.
Okay. You just,
Well, that was one program we had. It was it was actually, Dave Rickmers was LSD. Mm-hmm. He was also the engineer here, chief engineer. Mm-hmm. And, we had quite a few different programs. We had the Alien program. We had Ed Doppler. We had Dick in Your Ear. We had Dick Skits. And, then there was Dick and, there were a lot of different ones. We had lots of characters, too. I mean, Art Nouveau, before Art had a show, Pat Daly, before he had his show, he would actually be on the group of us, sitting here at the... I don't know what you want to call it. What was this? There were a lot of chairs at the time, and lots of mics strewn everywhere, and it was, it was a lot of fun. And then we finally got a table. That was really good when we got the table, and everybody could sit around the table. But those were great days, and we interviewed a lot of great people, and a lot of very famous folks really loved supporting the station and trying to get other people to come in and support. And you can play this little ditty. This was a friend of Dave's who was involved in the KDIL beginnings, where a lot of the people came from in those days in the late 70s. And, yeah. Well, yeah.
But it was much more free form. I mean, you guys basically
we made
lived
our own
right?
commercials. We made all sorts of things that just didn't exist. We had fast food commercials for places that weren't here, And folks would call us and go, "Where is that?" Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's really the question.
Yeah. We made up a lot of things, and we tried to put comedy. I always looked at it as being a variety show. Mm-hmm. This is the way I looked at it, because we would play great music, but we'd also play lots of spoken word and, Ken Nordine stuff and jazz, and we'd throw in all sorts of pieces. As long as it all flowed, it was like a linear thought for 3 hours.
3 hours. You had 3-hour shifts.
Well, we would do an hour of music.
Seriously?
It's like, with the first program I worked with Dave was the meat line.
Explain the meat line, because you told me this earlier, and it just cracks me up.
Okay, you've got a 3-hour show. First hour is music, and it's usually, pretty light and some great, stuff that isn't normally played. The second hour is talk, and we would start talking to each other, and then we'd bring in a caller, and the callers were pretty regular. I mean, every week we had the same guys over and over again, and I'll get into my stuff in Colorado and get some copies of that for you, but it's amazing. Then we slowly turn our mics off and just let them all talk to each other and start pulling in like 6 different people and they're just conversing with each other in character or just as regular folks. And then if anybody started to get a little weird, we'd like phase them out and then bring in another one, and then all of a sudden we'd all come back in toward the end and wind the show up and bring it back to the same, theme we started with, and then another hour of music, but was usually a lot more psychedelic and a lot, it was different. And it was during drive time, as I recall. It was 3 to 6, something like that. Yeah, it was amazing. We also did the news. We did the outer space news or whatever it was. We had all sorts of different things. It was a lot of fun. And a lot of times people didn't like it, but we had a lot of listeners. People just really appreciated it because the news was real. It just wasn't the kind of news you normally hear.
Yeah. I got about a minute. What's one of the best memory you got?
When Frank came to the station during the lock-in. That was interesting, and brought everybody milkshakes. That was good. Zappa came down to the station. Well, he was a regular visitor, so he was a good friend of everybody, and he was just a great guy. And he would talk politics, and we would get things out of him that you would never hear on any other kind of interviews with him. But no, it was a great time. And Dave Rickmers was the one who actually facilitated all of us coming together. So
KPFT,
a big cheer to him.
A reasonably noble cause.
An excellent cause.
Richard Rhodes, thank you so much for joining us
MArlo.
today. And of course,
pleasure.
you can hear more of this interview. We'll post it on our Facebook page.